Okay, so it's looking like most of you are logged into the computers. If you haven't ever logged into these computers before, it is the same as your Insight login. So it's whatever your first letter of your first name plus your last name plus whatever the 3 numbers are, and then your Insight password. So I wish that we could go back in time and not have to have you log in every time. It's really annoying for me to have you do that, but it's not my call. So it is what it is. You have to log in. So we're going to start first with the registration for the course website. If you've already taken the 136 before, I don't think there's a lot of you, then you already have an account. You use the same account, no big deal. Okay? If you're taking this class and my 136 class right after, you only need one account. So you only ever need one account. Okay? The other thing is your account is good from this semester going forward indefinitely. So you're never going to be kicked out. You'll always have the account for access. Okay? So I'm going to walk through first a little bit about the website just so you know where things are. I discovered when I was opening up some tabs that some of the links didn't work. Go figure, right? I thought I fixed that, but stuff happens. So I'll make sure that those are fixed prior to the start of class, next class. So this is the course website. Under About here, we have things. You guys are in 135. We have the course syllabus. There's a calendar, and there's feeds for the calendar, so you can subscribe into your own calendar what's going on. I'll walk you through that next class. Okay, they exist there. Under lectures, again, you're always looking for 135. That's you. Okay. If we went to spring 2017, we'd get this page. And you see that, okay, here's the spring 2017 lectures. Here's lecture 101. If you were to click on lecture 101, you'd get this page. Right? So right now we have that the lecture recording isn't available yet. So there's nothing to actually watch. This would be replaced with a YouTube video once it's there. Previous lecture videos, these are ones from previous semesters. You can see that some of them work, some of them don't. Right? Any of these links will take you to the previous semesters. Right? And again, today's lecture doesn't really matter. Not like you need to go back in time and watch the course introduction from 2 semesters ago. Okay? But when we're doing Photoshop, if mine isn't posted yet, you could watch one of the ones from last year and get approximately the same information from it. Below that, we have lecture downloads. These lecture downloads are designed if you wanted to download the slides that I show. And I have 2 formats typically. There's one that's just the standard slides. The other one has 4 slides on each page if you wanted to print them for some reason. They're there and available for you as part of it. Right? If I had any specific notes or links or whatever, they'd show up here as well. So that's the lecture page. That has to do with everything that I've talked about in the first hour of class. And as we continue forward, there'll be lecture 101, then there'll be lecture 102, etc. Under lectures here, you can see that we could go back in time. We could say the fall of 2016, for example. Here they are, and you can see all the lectures from last fall, for example. Okay? So just so that you're aware that they are there. We move over into the tutorial section. This is the part there where my links for some reason aren't working, which I'll fix today. But if you were to click on, say, Photoshop 1.1, it takes you to the tutorial that walks you through how Photoshop 1.1 works. How do you convert an image to black and white? So we'll talk about that as we go forward. But obviously, I can't show it to you because it doesn't work right now. We move over into the exercises. If we go to 135 and we will go to spring of 2017, we would get this page, which is exercises spring 2017. Today we're doing 101. If I were to click on 101, exercise 101 would load up. The text here matches the text on the handout that I gave you. Right? The difference is any links are actually live, so you can click on them, okay, which can be useful. The other thing is at the very bottom, there's a download PDF. So if you weren't here for a day or you lost your paper version and you wanted a version to print, you can go ahead and click on that and it'll give you the PDF that matches the piece of paper. Okay? So again, it's all there for you. If we move over into assignments, right, there is no fall of 2017 yet because there haven't been any assignments yet. Right? But if we were looking at the fall of 2016, you could see that here's all of the assignments. Right? Here's assignment 101, for example, and it's essentially the same thing with the PDF at the bottom. Okay? So this will be updated to spring 2017 once we have an assignment. We don't have any yet, so there's nothing for you to really worry about. As we move over under resources, these are things that will become more useful later on in the class, but they're things that you can download and whatever. We'll cover that down the road. Nothing to worry about just yet. Student work section will show you previous student work. So if we go to 135 and we go to exercises, we could look at what other students have done for exercise 101. If I were to click on it, it would bring up a bunch of these thumbnails that show what other people have done for their exercise 101. I do this so that you can really easily see what other people have done. Right? It can be really useful to do that. Furthermore, when you're doing comments, sometimes it's nice to go back and see all your class posts, etc. Okay? So that's under student work. We have both assignments and we have exercises. Okay? When you post your work, I'm going to show you today how you categorize it, and it will be automatically included in this list. The most recent post will be on top. So it's reverse chronological. So you can see if we scrolled way down here, right, we could keep going to all work, and we could see going back in time through 2008 or whatever, right? Lots and lots of things. Not that you would want to go back that far, okay? So that's under student work, right? And the last thing is login. So this is where you're going to be going. Typically, when you first sit down at the computer, you're going to want to log in. Before you make comments or do any posts or anything, you want to make sure you're logged in so that it tracks you, right? No surprise. So when you click on login, you get a page, that looks like, well, it looks like this minus the invitation code part, okay? At the bottom, there'll be a little link. Let me see. Let's see if I can go. I thought I had this. The problem is I logged in, so it got rid of it for me. Let me, there. This is what the login page looked like, okay? So if you don't have an account, there's a button for register. Most of you will be clicking on register, okay? When you get to the register, it'll look like this. It's going to ask you to pick a username. Please pick something that's related to your name. Okay, I have to find you by username. So if you do, Sexy Hot Daddy 123, I don't know which Sexy Hot Daddy you are. So it's really hard for me to figure it out, right? There's so many of you, what can I do, right? You get the idea. So make it your first letter of your first name dot last name, something along those lines, right? Please make it easy for me. Put your email address in. It does not have to be your Insight email address, your school email address. It can be your personal email. That's totally fine with me. I don't care, right? Actually, I'd prefer it to be an email address that you actually check. So, if it's your Gmail or something, that would work, okay? And then under invitation code, you're going to put this in all caps, okay? So you put that in. It's on both sides of the board, okay? And then you'll go ahead and click on register. Okay? Once you click on register, the system is going to send you an email with a temporary password. Okay? It's big on security, so this can be a little annoying. If you don't get your email right away, okay, it probably is in your spam folder. Particularly if you're a Gmail person, it loves to put your first email in spam. Okay? So on the left side, you'll have to go to More, and then you'll click on Spam, and it'll probably be there. It'll look like it's coming from WordPress, I believe. Okay? So once you've done that registration, right, you'll get that email, and you'll click on the link to confirm your email. And when you do that, it's going to open this page. So I'm going to stop for a little bit. I'm going to walk around and make sure everybody gets to that place, and then we'll keep going. Okay? I know today is very programmatic. There's lots of things to get through. Just bear with us. We'll get there. Okay, so I sincerely apologize for that. Obviously, that was a bit much for it to handle, but I think we're there now, and you shouldn't run into too many problems from here on out. It's generally everybody's staggered enough to where it's not too bad. So I apologize. First day, it always seems to happen. So when you first log in, you see the main page, but you'll notice that there's a black bar that goes across the top of the page. That means that you're logged in. So once you have that black bar, you're good to go in terms of commenting and that sort of thing. But before we get too far into it, I'm going to switch and take a look at my dashboard. So if you're looking at the main page and you move up to this first icon here with the little like speedometer looking icon, you can click on Dashboard. And this will then bring you to kind of the back end of the website where you can see the stuff that you have access to and are working on. And so along the left side here, you'll see something called Profile listed. Go ahead and click on Profile, and it will bring up this page, okay, which is your basic profile page. You can change your color scheme and a bunch of stuff. Some people like to do that, some people don't. Doesn't matter for me. But as we scroll down here a little bit, you can see that it has information about yourself. Go ahead and fill out your first name and your last name. That helps me find you. Okay? You can have a nickname if you want. You can also choose how you want your name to display on your posts. So it could be your username or it could be your actual name. It's up to you. Right? You'll have your email address, and then we'll talk about websites here in a little bit. And as you come down to the bottom here, under Account Management, you can actually create a new password here. By default, it says Generate Password. And if you generate the password, it gives you this really random string, which is difficult to remember. If you want to delete it and type in a value, you can. There's a checkbox for Confirm Weak Password. If you have a really bad password, you have to check the box saying, yeah, okay, I have a bad password. Okay? But you can actually specify a specific password. We'll talk at length next class about passwords and why you shouldn't just choose a standard password, etc. But for right now, you can make it whatever you want that's easy for you to log in. Or, of course, you can copy and paste this really random string of numbers and use that each time you want to log in. It's up to you. We'll talk about things like the profile picture and that sort of thing down the road. That is your basic profile. When you're done, you'll click the Update Profile button, which is right behind my head here, and that'll update your profile itself. Okay? So now we move on to actually creating your first post. And I'm going to walk you through kind of the process of this. We've moved into part 2 of exercise 101, right, which is the last part for today. And that is that I need to write a little paragraph about an article or a website or something that I think is interesting. And does it really matter what you pick for this? Not at all. But the point is, I want you to have to go through the effort of creating your first post and understanding how the system works so that when we move forward, hopefully it'll be a little bit easier. So today is all about your first post. So I need a little article that I can link to. So I'll go to the ArcDaily website, and I'll see if I can find something that looks interesting to me. And so maybe I'll scroll down here a little bit. You know, so maybe I like this one, right? Because I kind of like this rendering or whatever. Okay? And again, I'm picking something at random. You can pick anything that you want. Okay? It should be somewhat related to design. It's very, very loose. Okay? It can be anything related to design. So I'm going to take a minute and read this article, right? So that I can say, you know, whatever it is. I'm going to go ahead and I'm not encouraging you to do this, but for the sake of my things, because you don't want me to sit here and read it and whatever, I'm going to go ahead and just copy the first sentence here. And when I go back to our website, anywhere that you see that black bar at the top of the page, you see a little plus icon that'll say New. Okay? Below that, the first option will be Post. That's what you want. So I'm going to click on New and then Post, and it will bring up this Add New Post little dialog box here. Okay? There's also a warning that says this entry has no featured image. Please set one before you publish. Okay, we'll talk about what that is in just a second. So I'm going to start with, I'll paste in that little sentence here, but obviously you would write a little summary of what this article is about, right? And I'm going to go ahead, and in this box, essentially, it's just like Word. Okay, anything you type works. You can hit return, etc. What you see is what you're going to get on the website. So I'm going to add some commentary here. Let me go down, and I might say, I think the rendering of this project is particularly nicely done, etc. Okay? So I might do that. I can take that and say, this is my comment, so let's italicize it. Again, it kind of works like Word, right? I can also say, you know what, let's put a link to the full article And I'm going to go back to my ArcDaily here, and I'm going to copy this website. So I'll right-click on the text here and say copy. And I'll go back to my new post, and I'll paste this little bit in. And again, this is very much for you to get comfortable. This link isn't an actual live link just yet. So if I select it, I can go up to my tools right at the top here, and there's a little chain. That little chain will allow me to actually make it a link. I can paste in that same address and click the apply button. And now that's a link that I could actually click on. I could take this text, I could make it a bullet point by clicking the little bullet point. I could take the link to the article, I could make it bold. You guys are getting the idea. Okay, so it works just like Word. Very easy. What you see is what you get. Okay, I need to put a title in. So let's call this Exercise 101. Okay, with my name. So now, remember it said that it has no featured image. On the home page of the Digital Tools site, along with the exercise pages, you see that this student work section, well, again, we haven't posted anything yet. See how this one has an image and these ones have gray? Okay? The gray doesn't really help anybody get excited about your work. So we use something called a featured image that gives us a little thumbnail of what this is about. Okay? And actually, different than last semester, I've actually now required you to put a featured image in. So you'll always be putting this in. So I need an image that represents this particular page. So let me go ahead and go back to my original here. There's the rendering that I kind of liked. I'm going to right-click and say Save Image As. And I'll just put it on the desktop. And I think this should work. If not, I might have to click the Save the Image and see. I might have to log in. You know, this stuff is always challenging. Let's see. No, it's saved. There you go. So I'm going to go ahead and go back to the course website right here. And on the right side, as I scroll down, there'll be something at the very bottom that says Featured Image, bottom right corner. I'm going to click on Set Featured Image. And again, if you get a little bit lost in this, don't worry. I'll sit with you and we'll get through it. And when I click on Set Featured Image, I can click on Upload Files and then select Files. And I'm going to find that image, which I put on my desktop. And I'll go ahead and click Open, and it will upload. When it's done uploading, I can go ahead and click on the Set Featured Image. And you see that now that shows up as the featured image of this particular post. Okay? It's also going to let me publish now, which is good. So I have my featured image. I have a title. I have some text. Now, as I scroll down here on the right, you'll see something called categories. And remember back on the website when I said you could go to student work and we could go to exercise 101 and see all exercise 101, the category is how you're going to be included with this work. So I'm going to go back to my post, and under all categories, I'm going to look for Digital Tools for Designers. So here we are, Digital Tools for Designers. This is an exercise, so it's not an assignment. It's an exercise 101. Okay, so I check the box next to exercise 101. Okay, once I have those categorized correctly, now I can scroll back up and I can hit the Publish button. So this is effectively turning in your work. So when I click Publish, it's now turning in the work for me. Okay? When I'm done, it'll say Post Published. I can actually view the post and see what it looks like. So there it is. There's my featured image. There's the text. There's the link. Okay? Notice that it also gives me some information about me on the right side. Yours will automatically do that as well. And we'll talk about branding yourself and the other things that you can do relating to this in a little bit. Okay? But I now have this post. Furthermore, if I went back to the page here that has student work for exercise 101, you'll see that my post now shows up in that list, okay, because it was categorized correctly. If I go back to the home page itself, because I was the most recent post, it'll show up as student work. So as you guys post, you'll rotate through in this, but you will also see yourself under exercise 101 you'll see all the posts as they come in. Does that make sense so far? Okay. It may seem a little daunting at first, and some people struggle with this posting thing. I promise you within 2 weeks, this will be second nature. Super easy. Okay. So the other thing that we can do is I can go back to my dashboard, and I can see all of my posts. So on the left side here, I can see posts, all posts. This will show me all the posts that I've made. Okay? So I can go back and I can say, oh, here's my post. Let me go back and edit it because I caught a spelling error or something. And I could come back and I could add to it. Blah, blah. Right? When I'm done, I can click Update again, and it will then update my post. Does that make sense so far? Okay? So I'm going to ask you to do this post as part 2 of this exercise. We've gone through all the rest. However, I do want you to bring a flash drive or a hard drive or something to class on Wednesday. Okay? Some way to store your work. Thus far, you haven't had to store anything, so we're good. Okay? So, as I said, today you don't have to stay the whole time. Once you finish this post, you're free to go, right? But we'll start up again next class. Okay? I'm going to go through, for those of you that are on the wait list, don't leave without talking to me. I want to see where you are, but I need a little bit of time to look at the roll sheet and decide if I'm going to let anybody in yet or what. Okay? So just make sure you don't leave if you're on the wait list. Other than that, you don't need to check out or anything. You could just leave. Are there any questions before we stop? No? All right.